how fortuitous that I'm in front of a baseball field. Not just any baseball field, a baseball field where I had a save in a July 4th tournament game a long time ago. That was, I'll tell you the story about that game while I show you some names. So my Kansas friend told me that someone wrote down on paper the names of 1,000 baseball players. Didn't look anyone up, just wrote them down from memory, and posted, I guess, the pictures of all the pieces of paper on Reddit. And my friend didn't really challenge me to do this, but I started doing it. So that first night, right before I went to sleep, took about 45 minutes and got the first 500 names down. Eventually did break 1,000. It was very piecemeal after the first 500. It was a lot slower. I will put the spreadsheets on the screen. There will be 4 sheets. The first 3 are about 270 players each. I think it's like 270, and then the next sheet is 269, and then the next sheet is 270. That second sheet is 269 because I realized I put a guy on there twice and spelled both his first and last name differently. So he came up as 2 different players, but as I was going through it, kind of realized that was happening and deleted the second installment of his name. If you're noticing the colors, one of them, I think the orange, is people I remembered their last name and vividly who they were, and I could give you details on them, but didn't remember their first name. So after I was done thinking of people and putting their names on in these columns and everything, looked up their first names because everything's alphabetical by first name. Also, the green is people I thought of after I got to 1,000, but while I was putting this all together, more names were entering my mind. So I added them as I was putting these spreadsheets in Excel together. So there you have it, 1,013 players. And if you're wondering, I thought this was a poker channel. For one, I will argue with anyone that every single video I've ever put up is related to poker in some regard. Just, you don't need to be dealt ace-king 5 times a day in order for the video to be a poker video for a poker channel. If you want me to connect this to poker, yeah, a lot of the thinking was, a lot of the skills it took to get this list down are skills that are important in poker. It got really slow after like 800, and I was really trying to think of like specific plays. It's like, oh, that was like a walk-off single in 1998. Who was the batter? Who was the pitcher? Who was the guy in the outfield who had to throw home even though it was too late and the run scored? Like, it got tough. And there are very specific details I remember about players I played with 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So took a lot of the same mental skills that I use in poker in order to get this list down. So there you go, all 1,013 names. I hope, I haven't edited this video yet, I'm only filming it. I hope all those names have flashed. And as a treat, I wrote down the 20 most obscure. This is mostly for you baseball fans. How I remember these people, and none of these people I remember because I've been doing the trivia lately. The Immaculate Grid. These 20 people I knew well before the Immaculate Grid existed, so while I regale you with stories of why I know these 20 people, feel free, if you're a huge baseball fan, to put down your top obscure name you could think of, your top 5, your top 2, and reasons why you remember them. I gotta look at my list though. Alright, first one on the list, Al Bridwell, and they're in alphabetical order by first name. He played in the early 1900s. There was a famous game, September 23rd, 1908. There was a pennant race, Cubs-Giants, and he was batting. Moose McCormick was on third, and Fred Merkle was on first. And he hit a ball to the wall in right field. McCormick scored easily. That should have been the walk-off run. Fred Merkle never touched second, so it's a force play. So Al Bridwell needs to touch first. Fred Merkle needs to go from first and touch second. And Fred Merkle just ran into the clubhouse. The Cubs tried to like get the ball as the crowd was rushing the field and get the force out at second. They didn't end up doing it because of the chaos. The umpire saw what they were trying to do, called Fred Merkle out, called the game a tie. And if the game needed to be replayed, it would. The Cubs and Giants did finish 1908, the regular season, with the same record. And this was back when the playoffs was just the AL winner against the NL winner. The playoffs was just the World Series. So you had 2 awesome teams with the same record. One's going to win over 100 games and not make the playoffs. And they replayed that game. The Cubs won. Merkle was not doing too good after that. A lot of people hated him, and that was the last time the Cubs won the World Series until they won the World Series against the Indians in 2016. So Al Bridwell was the batter. Should have been a walk-off RBI single. Instead, it was a force out. Second one, Al Spalding. He played in the 1800s for the team that I think is now the Cubs. It was the Chicago team, different team name. Also for the team in Boston that I think eventually became the Red Sox. He played, I think he also owned the Chicago team, or at least was like the general manager or something. But anyway, Al Spalding. He started Spalding, the sporting goods company, in the 1800s. Same Spalding. Third one, not many, this guy's modern, and not many people know who he is. Buddy Carlisle. So if you're a Mets fan, opening day 2015, the Mets had an injury in the bullpen, so they were doing closure by committee. They didn't really have a closer. I'm not a fan of a closer anyway, but they didn't have their closer. Buddy Carlisle got the save. He has an odd career. A lot of times, if you played in the majors and missed a full season, it was because of injury. He had like a lot of years he wasn't in the majors. If you look at his first year and his last year, I think he played like parts of 6 or 8 seasons, but over the course of like 15 years, I think he was often playing in Asia. And then he would come back and play in the major leagues, and then he would play in Asia again. And it's very sporadic, his years in Major League Baseball. He was a relief pitcher, but he wasn't a closer. He had one career save in his life in Major League Baseball, and it was opening day 2015 for the Mets. Chuck Connors. For one, he played in Major League Baseball for the Cubs and the Dodgers. Also, he played for the Celtics in the NBA. Not a ton of people have played in Major League Baseball and the NBA, but you might know him more for his acting career, most notably The Rifleman. It's post-Civil War New Mexico. He's a single father. His son Mark lives with him, and pretty much every episode there's some kind of like criminal lunatic guy and him mostly, but with the help of the sheriff, or the is that his name? Sheriff? Marshall? Sheriff or Marshall. The guy's name in the show is Micah, M-I-C-A-H. They fix things, and yeah, probably no more for the Rifleman than his time with the Dodgers, which I think was one game. Alright, this video is going to get long if I go through all 20 obscure people, so I'm going to finish with this last guy, this 5th guy. I will film why I know the other 15 on my list of 20 very obscure players on this list of 1,013 players. So I'll film me talking about the other 15 players. If there's enough like desire in the comments for me to post that video, I'll post it the day after this video gets published. I know it's very loosely related to poker, although I'm not kidding. The like mental skills to remember the plays and the players and like very specific things about some plays or some games or some teams or some people's names also help a ton in poker and anything else, but especially poker, where memory and information is really important. So I do think it is related to poker, and if it's not, whatever, it's my channel. I'll post whatever I want. Also, I think there are some huge baseball fans who watch the channel. So I'll talk about this 5th guy and then the other 15 probably tomorrow. Doug Strange. He does not have many home runs in his career. He's not known for hitting power. He's not known for hitting at all. He's really not known for any of the 5 tools. He was an infielder. He could play second, third, or short. Not really that fast, didn't really hit for average, didn't have an amazing arm, but he managed to be on 6 teams in the majors for a while, which is more than most people can say. I did see him live in Seattle hit a game-winning 8th inning grand slam. No clue why he wasn't pinch hit for. I know pinch hitting in the American League isn't that common of a thing, but the Mariners were down. I think it was July 22nd, 1996. The Mariners were down 3-2 in the 8th, and Doug Strange hit a grand slam. The Mariners went ahead 6-3, tacked on 2 more, and they won 8-3. Pretty sure it was against the Brewers. Saw that game at the Kingdome. Anyway, I'll talk about the other 15 guys tomorrow, and I never told you about what went on this field. I'm going to go onto the field and show you the mound. It was a rare time, that July 4th game I was in a long time ago. It was a very rare time. I came in to pitch, but did not start the inning. A lot of times you start the game, sometimes you start the inning. It was a rare switch in the middle of an inning. We were up in the last inning. I was playing second base. The first 2 guys reached base. Quick hook from the manager. That pitcher got removed. I went in and don't usually pitch with inherited runners. Another pitcher's runners are on base, but now I'm pitching, and got out of it. Strikeout, fly out to the warning track in center field. Sean made the catch in center field. I do want to show you the mound though. So you can tell from all the dirt, this is a softball field, not a baseball field. The thing they would do to make it a baseball field is put one of these stupid temp turf mounds here. And the thing I hated is that it falls off so quickly. There's like no space to the left of the mound. It just falls off. So when you're pitching from the windup, you're just like falling off of it. Let me show you. From the stretch, not a big deal. Whatever, you're here, you look in, you're here, it's not a big deal. When you're pitching from the windup, like you take your step and now you're like falling off the mound. And it was unbelievably annoying. So I don't know if you could hear any of that, I was far away, but yeah, you take that step, whether you're righty or lefty, you take that step when you're going into your windup, and you're just like, you're off the mound, and it was really annoying. But I guess that was the not that terrible thing at coming in with inherited runners. There were runners on first and second, couldn't pitch from the windup, had to pitch from the stretch, so it wasn't so annoying that day. But yeah, played on this field plenty of times, played on that one plenty of times. Usually these ones 3 and 4. Anyway, there's the video, and if you're a huge baseball fan, look forward to tomorrow's video. And remember, rice is a spoon food.